Hi guys, good evening. So my name is Seth Amankwa and I'm a research assistant at the University of Saskatchewan. And tonight I want to take you through how to organize your folders for your thesis or paper, and also to go through how to use Makefiles. Makefiles is quite very important. So the first thing to tackle is to talk about why is it relevant to actually organize your folder. Uh, and as graduate students and researchers, it's very important that we do. The first thing is that it helps you to uh, find exactly where things are, right? Which saves you tremendous amount of time because you are going to know exactly where maybe your data is, your write-up is, and it helps you. And the second thing is that it helps you, maybe in future you want to publish your work. It helps you to really stay organized because uh, most of these journals will require that you send your data or your script or other stuff with your manuscript. So it's very important to have that organization so that it will be easier for you to transition from your thesis to your paper. And plus, I mean, it helps you to tidy up your desktop, right? So that you don't have a lot of stuff on your desktop. So I've created a demo for us tonight, and I'm going to go through the demo, and then we are going to look at how we are going. I've organized mine, and then you can uh, use that as a guide to do yours. Uh, so because of time, I've done most of the stuff in the background, and I'm just going to go through quickly. So I have this folder called demo folder, and inside it I have these three folders. I have my data, so this is where all your data is going to be, your write-up, or all your write-ups are going to be, and your scripts for students who like, for instance, in engineering, in like environmental sciences, we tend to use more scripts to do stuff. And so you have all your scripts in this folder. So if you go into your data, you have maybe two subfolders. You have your lab, separate folder for your lab data, and your separate folder for your field data, right? So if you come to your write-up, I also have another folder called figures. This is where all your figures for that's your figures that are going to go into the write-up will be. And then I have my script, and in the script I have lab and field. So my lab scripts will be in here, and my field scripts will be here. So that's what we. So if you look at the data folder, and we go into maybe the lab folder, I have some data here. I'm going to use it and then to show you how to use the Makefile. And if you come, likewise, if you come into the field, I have some data sets. So that's how it's going to be. That's how you want to organize your folder. And it's going to be very easy for you to work on this. And especially also if you are someone who tends to use the console or the command line, you want things organized this way, so that it will be easy for you. So I also use the command line, so I'm going to use the command line here. For those of you who do not know how to use the command line, you can actually learn from here. The emphasis is not to teach how to use the command line, but then I know you guys are smart. You can figure out, or if you, maybe I'll try to make a separate video sometime on how to use the command line. So the command line is basically like, instead of using the interface here, it's like you use that command line to navigate your through your folders and other stuff. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is the Makefile. So the Makefile is a script. It's like a text file, right? I have an example here. It's the Makefile is a text file, and so it's a text file. And what it does is that you use it to compile documents or run scripts, right? So it's like an automation, right? Instead of you manually going to do like run your Python script or your R script in like in another interface, you can just type make and it will run everything. It will search for your data. You give it the path for your data, so it goes there and search for the data and search for the script and do whatever the script is saying, and then run the script and then give you your figures or whatever output that you want to have. So I'll go through it quickly. I'll go through an example of it, and then I'll show you how to kind of make a simple makefile. This is very important because in 20 years time, if you come back to your thesis and then you want to replicate it, you don't have to remember everything you did. You just run make and then it just does everything for you. So here, let's go. So this is my command line. For those of you who use Mac, this is how it looks like. In the command line, if you type cd, it's change the folder. So you are changing the folder. So I'm going to go to desktop, my desktop. So I'm at my desktop. If you type ls, it shows you a list all the folders that you have, all the stuff, not the folders, but everything you have on your desktop. So I'm going to clear, and then so now I'm going to go to the demo folder, right? So I will type again cd and try to type de, and I'll complete it with my tab. If you press on the tab key, it kind of completes it for you, and then you are in your demo. And so now you see that the demo becomes the kind of yellow becomes yellow, right? It means you are in your demo folder. So in my demo, I want to see what is there. So I type ls, and so you see how you see the organization of the folder, your data folder, your script folder, and your write-up. So right now, I can go into my data folder, and then I can see what is there. I have my field and my lab. I can come back. If you want to come back, you type cd to full stops or something, and come back to your demo folder. So right now, I have data in my lab folder and my field folder, right? Let's go and check it out and see what I was talking about here. So I go into my field folder, and I see that I have data here. I have 2 CSV files. And what I want to do is that I want to make a plot, right? I want to make a plot with these I want to make a plot with these 2 data, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go into my script folder, right? So if you come back to my script folder here, so data, so I'm coming back to my script folder. And then I go into maybe lab. And when I open lab, you see that I have a .py file. This .py file is a Python script that I've put together. to plot my data. So what that so maybe we should look at that file and see what that file does shows us. So this is another software that we, another package called Atom. Atom is also a text editor. Sorry, a text editor for editing text files. And so if I open, I use that to open my text file, and also for editing codes, right? So here you can see that I have a script here. And what I'm doing this script is that I'm saying that this script should go and read the CSV file. The CSV file is in data lab, and this is the name of that CSV file. So this is called a path for the data. So if you go into the data file, the data folder, you go to lab, you search for the lab folder. You remember in the data folder, you have lab and field. So if you go into the lab folder, you have this CSV file. You should take this CSV file and read that CSV file and make a plot for me, right? And name the plot freeze or 2024, right? And so that is all that this Python script is doing, right? Now, let's go back. So, so now this Python script is in scripts, right? It's in scripts lab. You know, in the script folder, we have two subfolders: lab, one for lab and one for field. So this freeze all 24 pi is in the lab folder for the lab subfolder, right? And so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use this Makefile to run this Python. If I didn't have this Makefile, all that I have to do is that I have to open another interface to run or another package to run the Python code, and then generate my figure and then use it. But here I'm telling Makefile, I've created a Makefile to do that. So what that I have to do, if I type make and I type enter, it does execute that freeze all 24 pi script. And so let's see now what's there. So now you see that we have another entry here, and it's called freeze all 24.png. So that is an image. That's the figure. So let's open that figure and see what we have. So if you open it, we have our figure here, nice figure here. So it means that the Makefile that executed that Python code and did that. Let's go and do the same for the lab, for the field. So here we go to field again, the subfolder for scripts, the field subfolder for scripts, and here too we go and we look at the file. Here we have a Makefile, which is used for compiling this Python, these two Python codes to generate a script, figure. So now we have 1, 2, 3 entries here, and this thing, forget about this thing. So now let's run make and see what happens. So it is actually running this python.py to create something for me. Here are some stuff that I added to the Python to give me these things, these numbers. Now let's look again and see what is there. We can see that now we have one additional entry. It's called sdn.png. So let's open sdn.png and see. Now we have this wonderful plot also. So now with Makefile, we have been able to compile our Python codes. And so now we have, now if we go into, we can just go to the normal way of looking at the folder. And then we can see that in our scripts, we have our plot here, this one, as we open it, the same thing. And then if you go to the lab, we have this also. So now we have been able to create our plots, right? We just, so in 30 years, if I come, I just type make and it creates, it takes the data from wherever it is that I've told it to do. It takes the Python code and it runs it and it produces a certain figure. Now, one other fancy thing you want to do is that, you see this data is called SDN or PNG. And if you look at the lab, sorry, the plot, if you look at the lab figure 2 is called free something something, but in your thesis, you're not going to use that, right? So when you come to your write-up, that's where you are, in your write-up, you are going to use figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, right? That's why I've created another, so I've created another folder called figures. And here I have a Makefile, and let's delete these ones for now. And here I have another Makefile. So what will this Makefile do? So this Makefile, let's look at what that Makefile is made up of. So that Makefile, all that is doing is that here I have figure 1 and figure 2. So I'm telling this Makefile that it should go to scripts folder and pick this figure that we have created with the name SDMPNG and bring it to the write-up folder and name it figure 1, because I'm going to use that as figure 1 in my write-up, right? And for figure, and the same thing for that, I tell it again to go to scripts and go into the lab subfolder and retrieve this figure and rename it as figure 2 in write-up, right? So now I don't have to know anything. If I come to write-up, I type make, it will automatically take the figures from wherever they are, rename them to how I'm using them in my write-up, which is very fancy. So after doing all these things, it's very easy to. So let's go and do that. So let's now go to, let's do CD. Let's try to go into our write-up folder and go into our figures folder. And if we type make, right now it has done that, right? So if we type ls, now we have figure 1 and figure 2. And if you go and open figure 1, you see that it's the same other figure that it has renamed. Wow. So it has taken that figure and named it figure 1, and then the other one to, let's see, figure 2. As it. So it's a very good way of doing stuff. You get things automated, right? So that, we tend to forget as you are doing your research, it gets to a time where you don't really remember anything. And so it is a good way to work. It keeps you very organized, and it helps you to, as I said, transition smoothly from your thesis to your paper. You're going to stop here, and then I'm going to post this video, and if you watch it, just give it a thumbs up. And you can also share your ideas on things that you want me to review and make videos on. I think my next video will go properly into how to make the Makefiles actually, because I've not touched on that. I just showed you how to use it and its relevance. But I will delve into the next video how to make the Makefiles. And then I'll also go next, I'll go into Python coding and making simple plots and using Python for simple data analysis stuff. And then I'll also look at how to use the command line in the subsequent videos. Thank you.